magic makers, and welcome back to the Metaphysical Apothecary. We are your hosts, Megan and Shannon. Say hi, Shannon.
Hi, Shannon.
We are also known as the Scorpio Sisters, and we are here to explore the mysterious, magical, and the arcane. Another thing that I like to do during specific kinds of storms is open the doors and windows when it's rushing in, when it's in full force, and just allow the wind or the rain or the snow to that energy just to sweep in when it's very cold, especially, and clear everything out.
I like doing that during windstorms and thunder, lightning storms.
Mm-hmm.
Open up as many windows I can possibly can and just let it roll right through and clear out any negative and stale energy.
The great thing about cleansing your space this way is that nothing's going to be left after this. Nothing can escape it.
I will also just let that energy roll right through my aura, roll right through my Turidian fields, roll right through all of the energy in my subtle bodies, and take with it whatever it could that was holding me back or holding me down or starting to pull down my own health and my own energy.
Mm-hmm. I used to do a similar thing with my familiar. Actually, one of his favorite things was actually to watch storms. And he would lay down at our patio door and watch the snow or watch the rain fall. And when we had some severe thunderstorms last year, we lost power for a little while. I sat down in front of the window to watch the rain, and he came over and curled up in my lap, and the two of us together just very peacefully watched the weather raging outside and allowed that energy to almost gently sweep things away. Like what you were describing sounds like invigorating and energizing, and this was a lot more of a gentle roll through.
I definitely use storm magic to help deal with the introverted aspect of my personality where I do spend energy in order to interact with people.
Right. Another thing that I really love doing during a storm, as long as it's safe, is to go outside and experience it.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the most obvious way, and it's something that I feel like a lot of people do instinctively. I go out on the patio and I stand there and I let the rain pour down over me. I'll be barefoot. I'll be wearing a tank top. I will also take barefoot walks in the grass while it's raining. And I've done this in the snow as well. I can't spend as much time outside in the snow, especially not barefoot, but I will do it in the snow. And I know that people think I'm absolutely insane, but it's the most transcendent experience to be standing outside in the snow and just feel the cold sinking into your skin, sinking into your body, feel the snow hitting your skin and melting, catching it on your tongue. Those negative ions in the air from the storm energy, along with cold therapy, is excellent for resetting your energy.
Mm-hmm. It's a family event when a storm is rolling through, especially in the summer, for us to all sit out, whether it's on the front porch or on the back deck, to enjoy everything. We've been in its presence, we've greeted it, we've gone through the meditation, observation, contemplation of the storm coming through.
And when you're interacting with a storm, it's inherently got an element of danger in it.
Mm-hmm.
So you learn to kind of judge where the line is, and then you back up a couple of steps behind that line to protect yourself. But it allows you to remain calm enough that you can actually enjoy the energy.
Another way that I will enjoy storm magic on the outside, or I used to as a child, I used to dance in the rainstorms. I still enjoy it. Dancing in the rain.
Mm-hmm.
And it is not in any way, shape, or form meant to appropriate the Native American rain dance. It's not that at all. It is more the celebration of singing in the rain became dancing in the rain. But I was a dancer as a child.
Such a great example of how when we're young, we naturally perform magic. We don't necessarily understand all the ins and outs of it, but we know what things are magical and what to do when that energy is present.
Yeah.
My family also used to gather together and watch storms. When I was little and we were all at my grandparents' house, all the kids would gather on the back porch and watch the rain fall down over the farm and the barn and the natural landscape that was out there, because we weren't allowed to play in the rain at all. The matriarchs in my family were much too nervous to allow us to play in the rain if there was any kind of thunder going on in the background. But hanging out with my dad when I was younger, sitting on the back porch with him and just watching this rain come down, it pounded the ground so hard that it looked like a solid wall and the sky was green. The clouds were just churning. And he and I, who are both water elementals, were just sitting there very peacefully, almost sleepily, watching this incredibly powerful storm happening while my poor mother, who grew up in Ohio, was standing in the doorway, nervously watching the sky, waiting to usher us inside if something should happen that would indicate a tornado coming. She was basically standing guard while we were absorbing the energy from our personal element.
Yeah. Being on the East Coast, we don't experience all types of storms in the world. And one of the storms that we mentioned is sandstorms. What would you do with sandstorm magic? How would you work sandstorm magic? If I was ever in a sandstorm, first and foremost, safety. Seek shelter.
Please don't try to cleanse your energy by standing in a sandstorm.
No, that would not be good. But you can leave out containers to collect the sand that is being moved by the sandstorm. And once you have the sandstorm sand that you've collected, you can use that in a sand mandala or use it for creating the sand art that, like the colorful sand art that you used to do as a child, or you still do because it's a fun thing to do and that's one of your creative hobbies or passions.
It can make a wonderful base for things like crystal grids, or you can pour it into a container to imbue a candle or some incense with energy.
You can put it into flower pots, or you can use it for succulents. Can't you put sand into a filtration system?
Yes. So if you live in a place where you get rainstorms and sandstorms, you can use the sand from the sandstorm to help filter some contaminants out of your stormwater. Or if you want to charge some water from the tap or from a natural source, you can filter it through the sand. So there are thousands of articles online about how to make a filtration system using sand for water. It usually involves layers of gravel and sand and charcoal just to make sure that it's safe to drink. But if you use storm sand, it's also going to imbue that water with the energy that you picked up and collected. And sandstorms, I feel, are this wonderful blend of opposing forces, both earth energy and wind energy, which are opposites, but they're blended together in this.
The sandstorm energy can be pulled for protective energy, earth, creative, even fertile energy. Or if you're going into the air imbued part of it, it could be for clarity, mental clarity, knowing how to communicate and what to say, focusing. If you're studying, you can use that for a Zen garden. So that way you can have it there, draw little children in your Zen sand garden.
Using it for clarity is really wonderful because one of the things that we've used sand for centuries is to scrape and smooth and rub away and shape things. So you get rid of anything that isn't necessary and you're just left with this very shiny, beautiful end product. You can, by the same token, you can also leave out rocks or crystals to be smoothed or tumbled by the sandstorm. If you intend to do this, maybe try putting them in a container that is secured to the ground but also tilted so that they don't get carried away by the storm, unless that's your intention. If you're gifting the wind spirits or the earth spirits in your area with something, with treasures, well worth your time and well within your ability to do with this as well.
So we've talked about some of the things that you can do with storm energy and storm magic: cleansing, purifying, healing, amplifying, whatever your intentions are, energizing yourself, protecting, charging. You can also banish things with storm magic just for information's sake. You can hex or curse with it just as easily as you can bless and protect with it. You can astral travel because of all of the energy that is being gathered from the storm.
So in terms of astral travel or border walking or extra dimensional explorations of any kind during a storm, you can kind of ride the wave of that energy, because during a storm, the veil between worlds is quite thin. The energy really kicks up and makes that curtain, sort of that energetic barrier, between the worlds. It makes it less solid. So you can use that energy and that opportunity to reach through into other realms. Another cautionary caveat to this, if you plan to interact with anything paranormal, another being of any kind, please use extreme caution. But you can use the storm energy to reach through and interact with extra dimensional beings, elusive deities, maybe a deity who you've been cultivating a relationship with, but they're difficult to understand. There's not a lot of information about them. You can interact with them in a very real way during a storm. If you work with fair folk or fae, this is a good time to reach out to them as well. Make sure you bring a gift if you're going to do that. Silver is good. Honey is good. There's also something very interesting you can do in terms of storm magic, which is time travel on the astral. So when you reach the astral during a storm, it really clears away barriers, right? So you can look into your past and you can look into your future, certainly for divination purposes, but you can also interact with different versions of yourself. This is amazing for psycho-spiritual healing. There will be an article about this on the blog too, sort of outlining more in depth how to do this. If you're doing inner child work or any kind of shadow work, you can reach back in the past, interact with your child self, and essentially let them know you are loved and I am going to reparent you. I am going to be the person that you needed when you were this age. You don't have to be angry or afraid or depressed or whatever you're trying to heal anymore. I've got you. But you can also reach forward in time to your future self and reach out to them for the same kind of support, to receive that support, to look at that person who's wise and has gone through everything that you've gone through and more, and look at them and say, I need your support. I need your help. Please guide me through what you know is coming. You can also use it to connect with your ancestors or past lives. This is a little bit advanced, but it can also be a lot of fun.
It's usually easiest for people when working with a storm that's right on top of you. Mm-hmm. And usually that's what people think when they think storm magic. I have to wait until the storm comes in before I work this particular working with my storm magic. Mm-hmm. And setting up a kit for storm magic so that way when the storm finally rolls in, you're ready to go and do as soon as it's there. Storm magic working on a local level. If you're working only with the storm magic that is right there with you, you're at the beck and call of the storm. Mm-hmm. It's not wrong. It is not bad. It's usually the easiest one to do because the storm energy is right there, hovering over you. You're encompassed within it. Mm-hmm. The next step is to go out of your local area and start siphoning off energy or using the storm magic energy from the storms all across the globe. Mm-hmm. Even if there isn't a storm happening in your local area, there's a storm happening somewhere on Earth. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't take a lot to research what storm it is, what it's doing to that environment, and whether or not it's usable for you in your working. You can definitely be sitting in Alaska on a clear, perfect day with nothing happening, and it's summertime, and you want to use some storm magic, that's snow storm magic. There shouldn't be a problem for you to work with any storm that might be happening in Antarctica.
Yep. Or from the monsoon season in Africa.
So yes, if you have a blue sky, clear day, and there is something that you need to do with storm magic, it's not impossible to work just because there is no storm hovering over you.
Right.
I also work with cosmic storms. So that's another level up, if you will, where even if the storms that are happening or raging across the globe somewhere do not align with energy I want to pull, I can go to Venus and work with the double eye storm on the southern pole of Venus that is always there. I can jump to pulling energy from Jupiter from the great spot. I can go to Saturn and pull storms from Saturn, whether it's the seasonal storms that happen or if it's the northern pole hexagon storm, depending on the energy of whatever working I'm doing. If it's Venus I need to pull from, I'm probably pulling for energy that has to do with love, usually self-love and self-confidence boosting and understanding my own body. Mm-hmm. If I'm going to Jupiter, I'm probably looking for energy that has to do with higher education or research or empowerment in some way, shape, or form, and protection, because Jupiter as a planet protects us from a lot of random comets and meteors and space debris. So if I'm going, I can pull protective energy from the great spot. If I'm pulling energy from Saturn, I'm looking for discipline. I'm looking for a way to become more focused on something, to hone in on something and work hard and to have the energy to work hard, to focus. So you can go outside of your local area. You can go beyond the atmosphere of Earth and go to other planets within our solar system. You can even go to the star and pull solar flares and solar storm energy for, again, self-confidence work or enlightenment work or any other working that has to do with the sun happening, and power and energy and just general happiness.
If you do want to plan for the storm magic that you want to perform, as we discussed, making a storm magic kit that is next to your door or your window or even stored outdoors where you can get to it safely is a good thing to have. And you just put in there whatever you're going to use as part of your storm working. If your working mainly involves collecting snow or collecting rain or collecting another kind of energy like wind energy or something along those lines, then place the vessels or the crystals or the other things that you want to use to collect that energy in a box. And it can be any kind of, I would say, weatherproof box, especially if you're going to store it outside. A Tupperware or a plastic tote is perfectly fine. If it's stored inside, it can be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. Candles, vessels to collect rain or snow, crystals to collect the sort of electric atmosphere, bells or wind chimes, or a string of something, fringe or whatever you would like to collect wind energy into, that sort of thing. That way you're ready. It's next to the door. You're ready to go once it starts, and you don't have to focus on running around your home collecting things and possibly miss it or be too distracted to draw your own energy. You have it right there.
Odin would also like to say thank you and goodbye.
Yes.
That's all we have on the topic for today. Thank you so much for listening in, and we hope you'll join us again. In the meantime, you can follow us on our blog for some more witchy wisdom, as well as check out some of our original art on Society 6 for sacred decor and more. Thank you again for joining us, and go make some magic and live your best life. Bye.
Bye, everyone.